All right, all right. We are back with another episode. This one, another game breakdown with MetaOps. And we have two of the founders, both the guys here that have been bringing it. I mean, these guys have been pumping out crazy amount of content. And you've been doing all these different interviews. You've been traveling, talking about MetaOps. And today, I actually first finally got to get into MetaOps and play a little bit. I've been holding on to a little pass for, I think, a month or so, and finally got in there, recorded a little video. So check out the Twitter for that. But got Jacob and Patrick over here, the two founders, and stoked to break down MetaOps. And I think it's one of the most fascinating, like the coolest looking first person shooter out there on blockchain as it stands right now. There's a few others, but I've been waiting for a kick ass first person shooter that's like Counter Strike or something like that. You know, it brings me back to the old days when I was obsessed with this kind of stuff. And yeah, you're bringing it, man. So Patrick, Jacob, welcome to the show, and can't wait to dig into this thing with y'all.
Yeah,
How you
thank you,
doing?
thank you.
Talk about you guys. I mean, as the two founders, I know you have a whole crew behind you, but how did you get started? How did you meet each other? A little background. Give us a
Yeah, absolutely.
walkthrough.
So for me, I'm an industrial engineer, and so I just got my degree from Texas A&M, and I've been in crypto and Web3 for a long while, I'd say, at least 5 years, and but not as my bread and butter, as Jacob would say. But I've been, heavily invested in gaming and leadership and being able to, build teams to complete tasks and projects. And so it was really not much of a jump, skip, and a hop to be able to move to Web3 since I was able to understand it. And not only that, but understand gaming and how it could be applied to this new and, unique thing of Web3.
Yeah.
And then so I gave Jacob a call, and we pretty much knew from that moment that we wanted to do a first person shooter, and we wanted to not only that, but really blow it out of the water. And so what we did was we worked super hard for around 9 months and made sure that we were able to get the game in place and at a playable place and time, and make sure that the people in our player base would be able to get on and actually experience MetaOps. And so not just a promise project, but a physical thing that they can actually play before they ever even invested. And so that's a little bit about me and a little bit about the project. Jacob, would you like to talk about you?
So yeah, I mean, just like Patrick said, me and him have actually been longtime friends. We've known each other since the third grade.
Wow.
His house was the one where we would go over to actually play games, right? He's the one who had all the new games and the new systems and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So it was always a fun time. Like he said, he has the educational background from a collegiate standpoint. I kind of jumped right into being an entrepreneur straight into college,
Hmm.
decided to day trade stocks, hit it pretty well there. I was a baseball player, but got an injury,
Hmm.
so couldn't pursue that path anymore. Got obsessed with working on my computer and working for myself, and from there just kind of took off. So again, started from a day trading background in stocks. Learned that in crypto you can make more than 2% a day, as opposed to stock market. So kind of got obsessed with the field there.
Yeah.
That's when I really started digging deep into like small cap projects, and that's where it led me to chains like Binance Smart Chain.
Hmm.
You guys know how that stuff can go. You're hoping for the 100x on the daily kind of stuff. It was a little too degen for my vibe, and I realized that I wanted to start building as opposed to just chasing the gold.
Yeah.
So I started creating my own platforms. The first one being a NFT platform that was on a smaller chain, KuCoin community chain. Did another one on Phantom Network, and from there, got that acquired by a different project right in time for Patrick to give me a phone call.
Nice.
So I was ready to jump into my next project, and that's kind of where MetaOps was birthed.
Man. So this is the first game then, right? That you guys have
Yeah,
kind of
100%.
right on. What kind of games were you guys playing back in the third grade was a long time ago, but maybe
Lots of
after
Call of Duty,
Call
that's
of
for
Duty.
sure. Yeah,
Nice.
in fact, I used to compete MLG back in the day, and then
Nice.
even competed up into college doing things with different esports teams on A&M, from Clash of Clans to, just random games.
So yeah, you've been in it, man. Well, I'm kind of curious because you have some sick partnerships too. I know with Fractal, we've had Justin Kahn, and you guys. I think was that like a Launchpad thing for you? I know your first mint, I think, was through Fractal, right? Originally.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we got them on board as a Launchpad partner, just like you said. We did a podcast with them on Fractal Radio, met
Yeah.
Justin. That was an amazing time. And they actually helped introduce us to a few, big names that we haven't solidified yet, but we will probably soon. And that's been super exciting. I mean, working with those guys, they are leaders in their industry as far as tech development goes and team building, and we can really lean on them. It's a true partnership as opposed to, partnering with other companies and projects where really it's just a face on your website kind of thing.
Right.
These guys are in the trenches with us, and it's pretty amazing. We also have some guild partners. 3D Gamers Guild has been super supportive. They were the main reason we actually moved over to Solana. So shout out David from 3DGG. He's been with us through the thick and thin as well. But Patrick, if you want to touch on that a little bit.
And yeah, I mean, like Jacob said, it's not just a sticker or a label. They really work with us hand in hand. I mean, even getting on Google calls with David. If for those of you listening in the chat, David Wirtz is another co-founder of Fractal, and he's actually one of the co-founders of Google Drive as well. And so he's very influential, very informative, and really knows what he's talking about. And we're tackling problems that no one else in the world is even trying to compete against. And so like doing things like making a wallet to where a wallet in our game to where we don't have to open up a private browser. So you don't have to worry about opening like in game opening up a secondary browser to where you could potentially be killed or something. Instead, you could just walk over to that asset, pick it up, and if it's an NFT, put it right in your wallet and then run to the next take cover or whatever.
Yeah.
And so we're working with them directly on that hand in hand, and it's definitely amazing having their full support on this project.
Yeah, David was cool. We met him once, and he was talking about how like the best games that go through there. It sounds like you guys passed that perfectly. Is that they're moldable? Like they can be, they'll work together to kind of make something that kind of syncs up and builds bigger than with the help of them and your expertise.
Absolutely.
And all that. For sure, man. I'm let's get into the game because like I got to get in there today briefly. If you go on Twitter, the people listening, you can see some footage of it over at Hard Fork Gaming. And so break down like what MetaOps is. First person shooter, it looks freaking beautiful, but also like all the little nuanced things like this, like how the blockchain comes into this for folks that might not have experienced first person shooter on the blockchain yet because it is so fresh.
Yeah, so I'll explain a
Sure.
little bit of the gaming, and then Jacob can take us home on the blockchain side. But for the gaming right now, we're actually in closed alpha. So we have 4 different game modes: free for all, capture the flag, team deathmatch, and dirty bomb. Oh, that's a little bit of alpha. Dirty bomb is being released sometime in the next 2 weeks. Shouldn't have slipped that, but oh well. Welcome to the alpha. And then so we've got multiple different game modes. We're working on 2 different maps behind the scenes on top of our factory map. We also have the inventory system that's being currently implemented. So we're trying to actually accomplish that first step of our roadmap, and to where you can see your NFTs in game, to where you can either display your PFP as a like your loading screen, your loading emblem. And so when players see you in game, they can see that, oh, that's Jacob's PFP. I recognize that based on the picture. And then we can verify that on the blockchain. And so then we're also focused on our story mode and our lore. And so we have a campaign that should be out towards the end of the year. And it's really just a lot of behind the scenes building. And we're trying to really be a competitive game, not just in crypto gaming, like you said, but in all games. So actually have that competitor of being Call of Duty or Halo or PUBG. And so to do that, we have to have a fun and playable environment that is not necessarily just focused on people earning and winning and playing money, but they have to be able to enjoy what they're doing. So not just a clicker, not just sit and stake something. You're actually physically in the game. You're getting kills. You're having fun. And Jacob, would you like to talk about the credit system?
Sure. So just like Patrick said, our main focus was to make this a competitive and fun game to play. When we were doing our problem and solution board when we were first starting the project, the biggest thing we realized is it's really hard to find a competitive nature in any of these Web3 or blockchain games. Now, there's a reason for that, right? It's not an easy thing to achieve, and some may say it's not even necessary for some of the brands out there. Axie Infinity, they don't necessarily have a reason to make this a super competitive game, right? It's all about the financial aspect. But we're really targeting esports. So when we bring in the blockchain side of things, first and foremost, with the PFP collection that got sold out about a month and a half ago, that was like our first integration into Web3. You connect your wallet, it reads that you have that pass, and it lets you in.
Yeah.
But that was just through a D app, and it was still through the browser. So what we realized when we were developing is one of the biggest hurdles was integrating it inside of a downloadable game. These WebGL and browser-based games don't have that problem because they have Phantom extension or MetaMask extension right on the browser, and it just reads it right there in the same place. When you get into Unity builds or Unreal Engine, you have to figure out a way to import that data into an installer, which is something that we didn't realize was a problem until probably our first phase of development, where we're like, okay, wait,
Uh,
maybe we should have thought about that, right? But we have some really, really amazing developers that were doing some workarounds, and especially when we met Fractal, that's when we started ramping that up. So, like Patrick said, we did figure out a way to transport NFTs and I would say tokens, because you can use that as a currency or an NFT,
Yeah.
into Unity and outside of Unity, and it's been pretty seamless. We haven't released that feature yet, but we will soon. We are developing our credit system, like Patrick mentioned, which is going to be your in-game earnings.
mm,
So we're doing an off-chain in-game earning system that you can use those credits. You get them per kills, for achievements. It's a pretty standard, I would say, system like a Call of Duty, right? You have your credits, and Fortnite, you have your credits, all that kind of stuff. And we did that off chain because we don't want people trading credits OTC necessarily,
yeah.
because then you could do pay to win. So we wanted that to be off chain. Now, something that is new and a feature that we haven't seen anybody do yet is we actually figured out a way to use those credits on Solana. There's something called a SPL token. So if you've ever been a part of a whitelist on Solana, you get airdropped a token. And to use that, to get that whitelist, you burn that token and then you get the NFT.
Right.
So we're doing a system where you can cash in those credits for an SPL token that's on chain to be used to purchase NFTs. And it's an interesting system that we can do, and it lets us have an in-game marketplace. It lets us use credits for off-chain reasons, for example, small customizations for your bunker, things that we don't necessarily think our players should pay real money for, calling cards, things like that. Just really fun stuff that gives you that nostalgia of playing a regular game, and then you have the opportunity to earn real value with it as well. And that kind of keeps things tight, clean, organized, and lets us kind of maneuver around some of those issues that a lot of these games are running into.
Yeah, man. That's I think wrapping that, so creative ways to have this in-game economy and different reasons why you want to continue to play, but mixed in with actually it's just fun already out the box. Like right now, just getting into it, even walking around the bunker, I was just like, holy crap, this is like all next level graphics that I haven't seen yet. And and then getting into an actual game, jumping around, shooting, and all that stuff. I was like, okay, I could see this. It's just obviously like the fact that you can play it right out the gate right now, and it's only it's been like a month or so since that last drop that you guys did, the mint. I mean,
Yep.
like not many other games are doing that right now. You have to wait like a whole year or whatever it is plus until you get some action. So I think what you guys are doing is unique, and I think it's going to help on board a bunch of people, which is like the big thing. Like bring the fun, give them something to play around with, and then this smart economy on the inside that you could do all sorts of stuff with.
Yeah, we're also doing a trial period for anyone listening in. If you come into our Discord, there's a what do you call it, a title thing that you can go click on, or a chat box where it says literally 7-day access. You go into it, click the link, fill out the registration, and you can get 7 days of free access.
Ooh.
Very cool.
Nice.
Is that like you don't need the NFT? Is that what you mean by free access?
Yes, just so we actually have written a code to where we import your address, and it basically puts you on a 7-day timer, and after 7 days the timer is out, and then you no longer have access. And then that wallet also can't be re-added, so you can't just do every 7 days.
Right.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean,
Wow.
I think a thing we kind of didn't really touch on was the fact that we're able to really mitigate against hackers, and doing it with that credit-based system. We know how much the average person is going to be earning in a given time period, a given day, a given couple hours. So it's very easy for us to not only like locate that issue, that source, but it's easy for us to implement a solution, whether that's ban that wallet and blacklist it, so any other wallets they create on that account they can no longer use as well. And it really adds for I think a level of security that is really unseen by any of the Web 2 games, I think,
Right.
as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, now's the time you're basically engineering a whole different way that people can onboard into a game and earn in a game and transact and all that stuff. So I mean, this is actually what Justin, Kahn said, I think, on our podcast, is like, that's why this whole gaming element right now at this time is so cool, because it's like everyone's got an idea and it's so good. We could build upon these things and then just see what happens. I feel like this is like a big testing ground for all of us. But
Absolutely.
I could see it being smart with, security doing it that way too.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Now, I'm curious, when it comes to the tokenomics side of things, you see a lot of the play-to-earn games that are out there right now, and they've got kind of that two-token system, right? You've got that in-game token where you earn, and it's this sort of inflationary token where there's more getting printed all the time, and then hopefully there's enough burn mechanisms that you use them, and then you've got the kind of governance token, which is kind of like holding stock in the company, essentially. Are you guys taking that same approach with your tokenomics and having the sort of two-token system, or are you guys approaching that differently?
Yeah, so that is something that we get asked pretty much every day, probably, right? Win tokens, stuff like that. So we are working with some top level economists, PhD level guys, to make sure that that would be a balanced system. So for now, we do want to let people earn, and I don't want to deflect from the question, but we do want to let people earn, and that's how we can do it with NFTs. It's a pretty, easy model to control, that we can read all the data and make sure things are running smoothly. That way we can, in the future, create a very, very balanced system based off the data that we've received. So again, right now, it'll be earn these in-game credits that you can use to purchase NFTs, for free or whatever it may be, or just earn them immediately. And then those NFTs hold value, at least what you make it, right? And then we'll have certain, I would say, scarce NFTs, right? So the first 10 people to earn this get this weapon skin. The first 100 people to hit this achievement get this weapon skin. Things like that. So we're still creating that scarcity that's very important in an ecosystem. But for now, it's play and earn NFTs to earn more credits, to earn more NFTs, basically. And then in the future, we will introduce FPS token, and that's what we're working on right now.
Gotcha. So what kind of things are going to be like NFTized? I don't know the right word, but what things are going to be NFTs in the game? Is it like the guns and the armor and that kind of stuff? Like what can we collect? And then also, once you collect them, is there going to be like is the secondary market where people can buy and sell them? Is that like an internal thing, or is that going to be like you can buy these items on Fractal and Magic Eden and those types of places as well?
So I think to answer the first question, pretty much everything we're planning to make an NFT. Again, other than certain things that will just be in-game assets, like customization and things of that sort. And then as far as the actual trading goes, something cool that we've been able to do recently, we teased it in our sneak peeks in our Discord a little bit while back, but we can add a browser inside of Unity. So people can, our developer actually leaked him adding Fractal's browser website into your bunker. So you go up to the little TV and you could actually scroll through Fractal's website. So it will be an inside the game marketplace, but most likely it'll utilize Fractal's marketplace itself. But you can access it in game.
Yeah, the ultimate goal, that's obviously we're in closed alpha now, and that's something that's probably going to be, hopefully, if we can get it by beta. But the ultimate goal is when we're a fully developed game that it be a fully immersive experience. Like you walk around a physical marketplace, you see creators' shops, you see their banners, you see their NFTs on the wall. You literally feel like you're in some foreign alien market. You've crash landed on a planet and now you're in the Colosseum or the Sentinel of wherever they are, and it's really a vision of, I want to say, creative maximize the creative prowess. So allow those players to really build how they want it to be and how they want to, see their world and envision it, or at least their plot that they get.
Yeah.
And we just really want to be able to promote other people more than just our game. So other creators who come in and want to make a name for themselves, they can easily do that by collecting NFTs, buying and selling them, starting up a TikTok, starting up a platform in which they can promote their brand, and then have that right. And it's like, imagine you get a trick shot and then you have that gun skin that's verified to you, and everyone recognizes that now because that clip went super viral, and then you see that in the shop, like that.
Yeah.
That's the thought in the back of the head.
I like it, man. Because when I was snooping around the bunker yesterday, I was kind of seeing how, like, it looked like TVs on the wall that weren't really on or anything. But I was kind of thinking, I was like, okay, something can go there. And the fact that, yeah, you can put Fractal or whatever else in those things and make it this integrated thing. Like, if you can just get people to sync up and like not, I mean, if they're playing, they're like in it. And there's so many other angles they can go and kind of interact and not really leave. I guess ideally you want the engagement
Exactly.
higher. So, I mean, it makes sense. It's like this kind of closed wall thing. It's super
At least
smart.
not force them to leave, right? Like
Exactly.
that we've
Yeah.
seen that in some other downloadable games. It's like you're still forced to go to a browser to trade and stuff.
Yeah.
And we don't want to force them to do that. And Patrick hit on a few key points. MetaOps is more than just a competitive shooter, right? We want to target a lot of different audiences, which is where he was going with that, I would say, open world style marketplace he was pitching there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a part of MetaOps that we're starting to work on now. The
Yeah.
bunkers that you see are actually going to be completely uprooted and revamped in the next week, actually.
Ooh, yeah.
So when this is released to the public, this podcast, the bunker might look a little different.
Sick.
And that's where we're starting to really tap into lighting and the really triple A graphics that we want, and give you guys that more immersive experience. But just to point on what I was saying, MetaOps isn't just going to be a competitive shooter. There's going to be activities and things to do in game that don't require you to be the best player possible, right?
Yeah.
And what Patrick was saying with the creativity side, we have one feature that we're pretty excited to be working on, where players can actually customize their own weapon charms and sell those in game themselves.
Yeah.
So if you're an artist or something and you want to put your brand in the game, you will have the option to do that in the future.
And that's just
Yeah.
the first step too. I mean, it's really getting exciting. I mean, it blows my mind that not only is the metaverse like, as far as you can imagine, but so is a game on the metaverse. If your theme is the metaverse, then your creativity is as far as you can think.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a dream come true, especially as an avid gamer and now a gamer that designs games for gamers. It's just a dream come true.
Isn't it crazy, huh?
I can't wait till there's like salespeople. Hey, come on over to my shop. Buy my guns from here.
Exactly.
That'll be really cool. That's I like that a lot. Now, I'm sorry if you already said this. If you did, I missed it. But is there like a land play as well? Is there something in the future where people are going to be able to own land in this game as well, or is the land kind of open to everybody and it's more focused on the actual NFT items?
We've been
So as
discussing.
far, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we've had 3 different ideas that are on the table. It's either renting space, owning space right out, or it be we do a vote system to where people choose creators they want to see, and because I mean we also want to have the ability to have players to make their own maps and then have the community vote on them and stuff, and then those be trickled into like everyday play for a week or whatever. And so it's really interesting what we can do here. Did you want to add to
So
that, Jacob?
I would, yeah, sure. So as far as like the parcel land purchasing, like you see in some of these metaverses, we're probably leaning away from that. It's still on the table, but realistically, we don't see the need for it, I guess. Like with the bunkers, right? Every player that comes in has their bunker. We want to give them that. But purchasing expansions to what you already own, that's something that we definitely want to do, right? And then giving utility to other projects, NFTs, or other projects in general, right? We are working with some cross-chain platforms as well, but that's far in the future. But something we've talked to them about is basically giving them their own section, their own map that their community can play on, and nobody else can until they own that NFT. Things like that is where we're leaning towards. But as far as like parcel purchase, probably not.
I love the idea of being able to like develop your own maps, and maybe that's even there's a marketplace where people can purchase maps, or maybe people just give out the maps or however those mechanics work. But I love the idea of being able to create your own levels, because that reminds me of like Counter-Strike back in the day where people would just kind of mod the hell out of them, and then there's all different
Imagine having
versions
like a tip feature
Yeah.
where you can tip that creator. So, I mean, so easily done with blockchain and
Well,
Solana, especially.
And thinking about just integrating with creators in general, like in what you're doing here, and like you're just gonna get so many people on Twitch freaking streaming out, and if there's a way to, it's just gonna help you guys. It's like integrating everything into one and incentivizing along the way.
And something important on the map creation side of things too, right, is when we talk to investors specifically, they ask for your streams of revenue, right? So you have your NFT sales, you have your royalties, And then where's your other streams? So one thing that we're doing is ad revenue streams. So billboard renting in our map, letting our users rent to us space in their bunkers to put advertisements, and things of that nature. So if you do end up creating your own map in the future, you also have the ability to have a secondary revenue stream of renting advertisements in your map.
Smart.
So it's pretty much endless as far as opportunity goes.
Oh, I can see that being big among like streamers and stuff too. You get
Dude,
streamers that go and build worlds and then put ads inside of it. That's really, really cool.
Go hang out in my bunker. I'm gonna go show in my bunker. You do a walkthrough, and I don't know, like
Yeah, and it's literally just collecting data on who's playing. Like,
Right.
that's really all it takes to, like, hey, do you want this many people seeing it, or do you want this many people seeing it? And it's really going to be an interesting aspect that I personally have never seen in video gaming.
Well, you bring me like where my brain was already going, because there's so much chat about, a lot of traditional gamers just being resistant to moving over to Web3 gaming, NFTs, and I think NFTs are usually the sticking point. It's like, they're a scam. It's like blah, blah, blah.
Right click warriors. Arr.
Exactly. What would you say to people like gamers who are on the fence about even like dipping into MetaOps or experiencing what you're even describing here, or maybe even just people that haven't experienced blockchain gaming that are just a little, I don't know, like nervous about the NFT aspect or whatever? Kind of curious if you have an approach or have thought about that.
Jacob, do you want to start this
Yes, for sure. So we talked a little bit about this actually in San Diego. We were lucky enough, me and Patrick, to do a little fireside chat with Edge Wallet. They were sponsoring the chat, and then I got to speak on the Web3 gaming panel as well. And that's a very important question: is how do you onboard players? Not just how do you grow your crypto community that's already there,
Right.
but how do you tap into that regular gaming community? NFTs have a lot of hate for a few reasons, right? People are like, well, I can just right click it. It's just a JPEG. But that's just an educational naivety, I would say, because they don't understand the actual technology behind it and what it means. And it's ownership. Gamers have no ownership of the assets they own currently when they're playing something like Call of Duty or Fortnite. You're buying a skin, you don't own it, which just sounds ridiculous to me. Microtransactions, my goodness. I know for a fact, I'm going to put you on the spot, Pat. This man has spent thousands of dollars on microtransactions.
I am guilty as charged.
And I think a lot of us have. And when you're done playing that game, it was just all for nothing, right? Just straight into the corporation's pocket.
Yeah.
So with Web3 gaming, it's very important to note that every asset you have, you own. When it is an NFT and you can sell it, it has value, and it's actually worth something. And then there's utilities that come with it too, right? And people can learn a little bit about that on the side. But I do think it's important to educate newcomers, and Patrick has a very cool idea on how we're going to do that. If you want to speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, and so, I mean, you're right. I mean, there is a huge group of gamers that have really no idea what's going on in the space, and not just the right-click warriors and the people who are against it, but the people who just don't know. And so if we can have a element of our game, so our element is actually we're developing a robot, and his name is Binks, and so he's actually going to be directly involved in the story mode, and he's going to be, I don't want to say sort of like Claptrap, but I mean, Claptrap was a great character that really helped you through your Borderlands journey. And so if we can have a character that makes sense like that walks you through things like, hey, don't click links, don't give away your seed phrase, make sure that you are the custodian of your own wallet, like stuff like that, and that we can really drive home an educational standpoint and really give those players the option to learn, or not even the option, force them to learn, so they know and they can be safe, and that they can have a better start than some of us did when we started. I mean, I personally had no idea what the hell was going on when I got into this, and now I still say that I don't know everything, and so I never hesitate to ask questions. And so if we can give that in the beginning, so in our campaign, and make it to where anyone who's onboarding at any age, well, barring you're in the rated in for mature age limit, and then that's the ultimate goal, is to be able to have a character who's funny, witty, and smart, and gives players the proper security tips that. And we're working with big companies around the world. We've actually got a call with I don't want to say them out loud, but they are based in the UK. and we have a call with them very soon. And they're a huge Web3 learning platform. And so we really want to pick their brain about how we can maximize our efforts towards onboarding and educating like that.
Dude, I think, and it's been said before about gaming, like I think it's going to be the greatest onboarding for Web3. And yeah, if you're just playing with the same users that are already in crypto, it's like it's a finite amount of people, of course. I mean, there's probably enough to like kickstart a project and have some fun with it, but we want to onboard outside gamers, and bring them over. And I think this education, it's like immersive education. It's like you're playing and learning at the same time without realizing, and you're getting the best
And I
education in crypto. Yeah.
I think there's this really cool story that we heard in San Diego. This guy was talking about how his 7-year-old daughter is now obsessed with NFTs, right? And he did that because she was playing Roblox, and he started explaining like, you don't own these, like, Dad, why can't I pay $20 for this? And he's like, well, you don't actually own it. So he started teaching her about NFTs, and now she will not play any games unless she knows she owns it, right?
Wow.
Kids are that is mine, right?
Yeah.
You tell them you don't, that's not yours, they're going to be pissed. And I think it's a very important aspect, like teaching them when they're young. And it's not only just about ownership, but it's about financial side of it too, right?
Ooh,
Now she's sitting there watching charts, watching the value of her assets go up and down. And I'm fairly confident she's going to be like the richest 12-year-old on the planet in 5 years. It's kind of crazy, but I think it's very important. Like, you have to realize even kids understand that. And I think when we get older, we forget it a little bit. So I just wanted to mention that too.
Yeah, I think there is like a generational element. I think there's going to be, I mean, there's a whole, group of a generation that's growing up that's going to be sort of crypto native, right? It's always been there their whole lives. In the same way, pretty much everybody here, we're pretty much internet native, right? All of us here, pretty much our entire lives, we've had internet around, right? But there's going to be a generation of kids who their whole lives they've had crypto around, and crypto gaming is just kind of the norm. So I do think that what's going to happen over time is all the people that are sitting around kind of, crapping on NFT gaming right now, a lot of them, they're just going to be seen as the crotchety old men that like didn't believe the internet was going to be a real thing in the future. It's like that's who that is.
Yeah, get in or get left behind. That's
exactly.
what.
Hey, teach the kids, man, when they're all in the my mind phase. It's like, cool.
Yep.
Well, my stack assets, man. Like start growing wealth, and have fun.
Yeah, so before we wrap up here, would you guys mind breaking down, I don't know who's best to do this, but maybe breaking down a little bit of your roadmap, at least what you can share of your roadmap and some of the important dates to note along the way and what people can expect from MetaOps going forward?
Go for it,
Sure.
Jacob. I don't want to drop any alpha.
No, Patrick is our alpha king in the chat.
He dropped one or two already, so.
Yeah. So as far as our roadmap, phase 1 is complete. We had the migration to Solana, sold out our PFP collection, onboarded over 1,000 users in game, crushed that. That was amazing, and it's really a testament to the Solana community. But going forward, our next drop is happening on the 24th. This podcast may be released after that happens, so hopefully it'll be sold out once you guys are seeing this.
Hopefully.
But that's for the Founders Pass NFTs. It's a total supply of 3,500. It gets you access to founders only tournaments with high prize pools. It gets you access to weapon skins, a bunch of different airdrop awards, and something that we really want to send home on it is it's part of our 3-set Genesis collection. So the PFP, the Founders Pass, and our next collection dropping, which I guess I can say the alpha this time, Patrick, is our melee weapons that we're going to drop. And they're all part of a 3-set Genesis collection. You can see the breakdown of the economy around that in our light paper on the website. Definitely check it out. It explains the benefits of holding all 3, what different rarities get you, which are basically bonus earnings in game, different unlockable content in game, and things of that nature. But that's our most recent update. Following that, we will be rolling out different maps. I kind of mentioned that we will have an updated bunker system as well. And then the credit system launches next month too. So that's super exciting. That's when our players actually, can feel like they're earning. Right now, we are keeping track of their data, their kills, their points, everything like that. And they will be contributed once that credit system is launched. So there is still a reason to play right now, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it. But that is definitely important to mention. And then following that, just keeping up with development, getting people to
Yeah.
actually be able to visit bunkers, and then different game modes as well. Lots and lots of tournaments. A very exciting one is coming up on the
Fractal.
5th. Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
Fractal on the
Oh.
15th of May. And that's going to be a very large tournament, biggest tournament we've run.
What's the
And
deal
it'll be
there? Do you have to be a whole like how does that work? To be
Yeah,
in
so
there?
that's actually going to be for founders only. So
Okay.
you have to hold a founders pass, and then we'll probably have spots for the Fractal community and a couple of our other of the partners that are sponsoring it.
Sick.
But it is going to be super super large prize pool. Nothing like 100K. Like don't go crazy with it. But it's going to be bigger than the $250, $500 tournaments that we've been running.
Yeah.
And those
We're
are kind of
thinking
the
about 5,000, right, Jacob?
yeah. I would say
There's the
round it
alpha.
out there.
5,000 or more is the goal.
Yeah.
We're
And
definitely
then
talking to other partners.
Nice.
And we have, as far as partnership developments go, we're speaking to some very big guilds. We have some meetings upcoming around that. And then we have some equity partners in the future as well. That's super exciting. It'll probably be released as soon as this gets released as well, this
Nice.
podcast. So
Very nice.
definitely,
Yeah, man.
definitely fun stuff.
Yeah, and well, I want to shout out the website too, so it's super clear. MetaOpsGaming.com, and I'm sure you can find the Discord because you got that 7-day trial thing option if you want to go play. Is that gonna always be live? By the way, the 7-day thing. I thought I read that it's
That
going
will
away.
be down
Yeah.
the end of this week as
Okay.
we pump
So-
it up for the.
So maybe we'll cut that. You won't.
So one
it'll be
thing-
back up at that point. I mean,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think one thing that we're going to try to do pretty soon in the future is give a demo, right? So
Yeah.
you don't have to connect a wallet. It's just a simple demo, whether it's our shooting range, whether it's like one story mission once that gets created, things like that, so that people off chain can actually play it too.
I think that'd be
That's-
rad, man.
yeah.
Just get you get the people, recording videos, the people like Matt and I that just want to like start playing games and showing it off and make other people jealous. And they're like, I was the first
Exactly.
one to find it, But, yeah, man. Another onboarding tool though. If you had a little demo out there, that's easy to get to.
Yeah. Do you know the price of the Founders Pass yet, or is that something that you can reveal this early? Or
Yeah, so we released that today, I think, actually. It's
Yep,
going to be
we released it
1.5
a couple
Solana.
hours.
oh, cool. And is that only for people that have the profile pick, or can anybody get in on that?
So right now we actually have everyone who has a PFP will actually get a whitelist token, and so
Mm.
they'll go in the whitelist mint, and then from there we'll go into the Fractal community mint, and then from there we'll go to the public. And so you do not have to have in order to do the early mint, like the whitelist, you have to have a PFP. But other than that, you can go in public sale.
Sick.
Sweet.
Yeah. So check it out at fractal.is for that. And I guess the last question I'm kind of like Matt and I always ask, like, are there other projects or games that you guys are personally stoked about outside of MetaOps and what you guys are doing that you're looking at right now that we should know about?
I would say, let's think. There's a cool one I like. I mean, honestly, I only really look at the competitors, and so I like BR1 a lot. They've got an interesting game going there. I also like Forged Empire. I'd like to see them. I really want to see what they do because they're a game that was on Web 2 and then like fully done out, and now they're trying to add Web 3 to it. But they've been trying to add for 7 months, like since we started this, and so I'm waiting to see what they do because they're hopefully going to be on console, and I would love to see a company be able to pave the way for that for the rest of us. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
very hard to get on those consoles right now. A lot of them are against crypto and things of that nature, and so we're
Psyker
just
said
waiting for
something
someone to do
similar.
it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
tried with Psyker and they were like,
Psyker's really cool. That's
Yeah, it
another
is.
game I'm very excited.
I was going
for.
to say,
just like Tekken.
shout out all Fractal IS
I know.
projects. They're
Yeah.
all amazing. We're
Dude,
a
it's-
huge family over there. It's awesome.
It's like I feel like we shout out Fractal all the time too. I'm like, I swear we're not sponsored. We're not like getting paid to say this. It's like it literally has all the good stuff coming out, and they make it easy to just onboard and get into it. So yeah, man, I'm with you on that.
Absolutely.
Psyker's gonna be a good one.
Also, I do want to shout out Meta Travelers. They're actually an Ethereum project that we built a relationship with a while ago. We are doing a Meta Travelers weapon charm for them, and that'll be like a default weapon charm in game.
Ooh.
They're an awesome project. They're all about going cross chain, traveling across the blockchain, things like that. So definitely check them out too.
Yeah, they're great.
Right on. Well, yeah, man. Well, Jacob, Patrick, anything else before we wrap this puppy up?
I would say anyone who wants to come, I will see you on the battlefield.
We got to find it. We'll have to do a match or something. You'll destroy us.
100%. Join the Discord.
100%
Turn
they'll destroy us.
notifications on. All that good stuff. Patrick is very, very much in the community, like in the voice chat, like every day.
Nice.
I try to be my best, but he seems to do that a little better than myself. So shout out Patrick for that too. And
Shout out Coach Pat.
but the funny thing is, everybody tries to clip him. So if you get a clip of 360 no scoping Coach Pat NFT in game, hit me up in my DMs and I might have something for you.
Legend has it, and then tag hashtag Legend has it in that DM so we know you listen to this podcast.
Ooh. Now we're talking. I love it, man. All right. Yeah, you're always thinking. I like it. Patrick and Jacob. Dude, it's been a pleasure. I can't wait to go try to get that shot. I'll be on the hunt there for you, Patrick. It's been fun. So yeah, check out MetaOpsGaming.com. Join the Discord. Do all that stuff. They're alerting you always. They're on Twitter too. I think you did a Twitter Spaces yesterday. Did it like you do them often. So yeah, you can find these guys. So thank you all, and catch you on the game.
Thank you.
All right.
So that was cool.
Yeah, that was fun, man. Those guys broke it down.
They did.
They got a
And,
vision too.
I do want to say this because we got to kind of say this just so that our lawyers don't get mad at us.
Oh,
You know,
yes,
our giant team of lawyers that we
Massive.
have.
We do.
That was not financial advice. Do your own research. And then Joe and I, we are invested in the MetaOps NFTs. I hold a couple. I know Joe holds more than I do. We don't hold any of the tokens. We're not investors in the game other than that we do have some of the NFTs. But it's a game we're excited about. And
Heck yeah.
Joe actually spent a little bit of time earlier, like getting in and playing around with it. And the graphics are freaking insane.
Yeah.
Like as far as crypto-based games, like NFT games right now, I don't think there's anything better that I've seen than MetaOps. Like they're setting the bar for like video quality of the games.
Dude, it felt like I granted I wasn't able to actually shoot anybody and kill anybody in the game. I couldn't join a server
You
with
couldn't
folks.
murder.
Yeah, no murdering happened this morning. But yeah, if you check our Hard Fork Gaming Twitter, or maybe we'll overlay it here. We'll see in post. But the freaking graphics are insane. Insane meaning amazing. I mean, like the lighting on certain things, how it just like glistens with the reflection. Like you can look at the sun on whatever planet it was on. I don't even know. I think it's some planet somewhere else. But yeah, it just feels like a game like you would expect. A nice first-person shooter that seems like they've really gone AAA level with the type of graphics and attention to detail. So I can't wait to see what's coming. Now knowing all the different pieces of the vision that they're developing and like all the different blockchain aspects, like yeah, it's gonna be one to watch. So
Yeah.
if you can get in, go get those passes. Not financial advice, but I think you're gonna.
Yeah, well,
you're
even
gonna
the
have a good time.
profile pics right now are, I mean, at the time of this recording, like they're undervalued in my opinion, right? That's just an opinion, but I think they're really undervalued right now still. So check out the profile pics. Fractal.is is the place to grab those. That is Justin Kahn's website with, what's the Google Drive guy?
David.
I'm drawing a blank on his last name, but
Wirtz, I believe.
David Wirtz, that's right. Yes,
my voice is
Fractal.is, amazing platform. Like we've almost gotten to the point now where it's like if a game is releasing on Fractal, we're like we should probably buy some of these NFTs because they don't put bad games on the platform.
They don't. They really don't. And I said that last time or on the podcast, and I've said it on some videos too. I'm like, we're not like getting paid to say this, but Fractal just makes it easy to go to Fractal.is. It's a nice UI that you can see, and on the left hand side you can see what's minting upcoming, and then you can see what you can actually play like right now in the browser in some cases. MetaOps you do not play in the browser, so I guess we'll disclaim that right now it's PC only. So if you have an Apple, ain't gonna work. But we just got PCs.
Yep, that's true.
You might be able to use an emulator or something like, or whatever, Parallels, I think is
Parsec or something too. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
getting way into the weeds. That's a future episode.
Point being is, if you have a PC, this is something that you could play right away, MetaOps. But on Fractal, there's a whole bunch of other options too to just check out what we'll be able to play in the browser even, which is pretty rad in itself. So
so everybody check out Fractal, check out MetaOps. What's that MetaOps URL? MetaOpsGaming.com, I believe.
That's right. Let me double check. MetaOpsGaming.com, and join their Discord too, because that's where they're announcing things all the time. And you should be able to get in on that 7-day free trial thing. So you don't actually even need to pick up a PFP thing just to start. Just try the game out, and you'll see what I'm talking about here.
For sure. And I am Matt R. Wolf on Twitter. I share a lot on Twitter. I know Joe's been sharing a lot on Twitter. He is Joe Fear on Twitter. And then we have Hard Fork Gaming on Twitter. A lot of the content, a lot of the shorter clips, a lot of the alpha we're dropping actually drops on our Twitter. So make sure you're subscribed to our Twitter. And also, we do have a video version of this on YouTube. I don't know if you're listening to the audio right now, but we are getting a little more polished with our videos. The videos are getting a little more ninja, as I like to say.
Oh, yeah.
They're looking cooler and cooler. So make sure you're checking out our YouTube channel over at youtube.com/hardforkgaming. So Twitter, Hard Fork Gaming. And then we've got our whitelist. If you go to hardfork.gg/whitelist, we're going to be doing NFT drops in the future. We're dropping alpha. We're talking about projects that we're investing in and that we like. And all of that you get access to by being on our whitelist over at hardfork.gg/whitelist.
Bam, mic drop. We out.
Peace.
That was a fun time. See you next time.